Thank you, Jazz. I'd like to call the meeting to order and acknowledge that we are in Treaty 1 territory, the home and traditional lands of the Anishinaabe, Ojibwe, Innu, Cree, and Dakota peoples, and in the national homeland of the Red River Métis. Our drinking water comes from Shoal Lake 40 First Nation in Treaty 3 territory. My name is Robert Hutchings. I will be chairing the hearing today. I'm joined on the panel by Ian Mon and Valerie Werhun, pardon me. And our assessor representing the City of Winnipeg Assessment and Taxation Department is Clayton Deitchen. Our administrative personnel today is Jaswinder Kumar. To the Zoom participants of this hearing, please note you are placed in the waiting room until your property is called upon. When it is your turn, you will be admitted into the meeting. Kindly follow along on the City of Winnipeg's Board of Revision YouTube channel for the hearing process. Once the host admits you into the hearing, please close or mute your YouTube player. You will then be permitted to speak with respect to your property. Once your hearing has concluded, you can leave the meeting. We will be hearing applications for revision of the assessment roll in accordance with the Municipal Assessment Act. The matters for which revision is requested have been described in each application, and we will limit discussion to those matters. The statements that are made at this hearing are sworn testimony, and anyone speaking to the matters must be sworn in. Be advised that comparisons of assessments of properties are not considered evidence of market value by the Board of Revision. The Board of Revision is appointed annually by Council and is independent of it and the City Administration. It makes its decisions on the basis of the evidence provided at this hearing and issues a written order that we mail to all parties as soon as possible. Please note that the board's decisions with respect to an application may be appealed to the Manitoba Municipal Board if their matter pertains to assessed value or classification, or to the Court of King's Bench if their matter pertains to the application of exemptions from taxation. Should you wish to appeal, information on how to do so will be included with the board's order. With respect to the hearing process, I will confirm the points of appeal with your property to address with each applicant following the swearing in. We will then have the assessor's testimony followed by questions that the applicant may have, and then the applicant's testimony followed by questions. Each side will have an opportunity to summarize if they wish. Once all of the evidence about an application has been brought forward, the applicant may leave. The process will repeat for each item on the docket today. The session will close after all the applications have been heard, and the board will deliberate in private and make its decisions. You will receive the board's decision by registered mail as soon as possible. As information, all public hearings are live streamed, recorded, and will be part of the public record. We will be hearing items 1, 2, and then 4 through 10 on our docket today. Mr. Kumar, please affirm the assessor and the applicant's testimony.
Yes, Mr. Chair, thank you. Mr. Assessor, please state your full name.
Clayton Deitchen.
Thank you. Do you affirm that the evidence you are about to give at this hearing is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Thank you. Mr. DuPont, please state your full name.
Henry DuPont.
Thank you. Do you affirm that the evidence you are about to give at this hearing is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes, I do.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Kumar. Welcome, everybody. First item on the docket today is item number 1, file number 22-1490. Address is 50 Alpine Avenue. We're dealing with a 2023 realty assessment appeal. And are there any preliminary issues by either party before we start on this property, Mr. DuPont?
No.
Mr. Deitchen?
No.
We're good. Okay, thank you. And it's my understanding that Mr. DuPont, you will have rebuttal evidence regarding the assessor's cap rate evidence presented?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. And Mr. Deitchen, when it's after Mr. DuPont is presented, it is my understanding you will have rebuttal on that evidence for the cap rate also?
Correct.
Okay, thank you. All right, Mr. Deitchen, when you're ready, please, 50 Alpine Avenue.
Okay. File number 22-1490, roll number 0800-212-8200. Address is 50 Alpine Avenue. Roll year 2023, reference date is April 1st, 2021. Assessed value is $30,548,000. It is two buildings, 11 stories in height, built in 1970, with 186 suites and 186 indoor parking stalls. Continue on to the page 3 income value summary. There are 10 bachelor suites, 77 one bedrooms, 99 two bedrooms, giving us 186 suites at an average monthly rent of $1,400.72. The gross effective income is $3,026,362. Expenses $1,269,861. Gives us the NOI of $1,756,501 at a cap rate of 5.75. Gives us a value of $30,548,000. On page 4 is the rent comparables for the property. I tried to find some with similar suite mixes. It's not the easiest to do, but you can see that it falls within the range of average monthly rent per unit. On to page 5 is our cap rate evidence. The following is a sample of actual sales that took place during the reference period. The purpose for showing these individual cap rates is to illustrate the accuracy of the model and to substantiate the model-derived cap rates. They're not meant to be comparables to the specific subject property. And you can see that there's essentially a range of 3.6 up to 5.74%. Page 6 is our cap rate table to show the City of Winnipeg model cap rates from the 20th percentile to the 80th percentile. Continuing on to page 8 is a permit. It's hard to read for some reason. I think it was common room construction for $250,000. Page 9 was another permit for interior and exterior alterations to the parkade and pool deck for $550,000. Page 10 and 11 are the income and expense mailers, as you can see. And then on to page 12 is some information about the property. You could note that it's newly remodeled with granite countertops, shaker style cabinets, stainless steel appliances. Continuing on to page 14 and 4 shows some of the pictures of these renovations. You can see the kitchen, the bathrooms, balconies, the pool area, and the parkade. And just to note that there is no effective age on this building that maybe should and might require an inspection to further look at that. And that is my evidence.
Thank you, Mr. Deitchen. Mr. Dupont, any questions on the evidence presented by the assessor?
Your 4 rental comparables, any of those properties been renovated?
Not that I know of. I'm not too sure.
But $1,400 rent for buildings built in 1970 would indicate likely that there is some renovations or suite upgrades?
Potentially.
That's all the questions I have.
Thank you, Mr. Dupont. Valerie, any questions of the assessor's evidence?
Not at this time, thank you.
Thank you, Valerie. Ian, any questions?
Just a couple. First of all, with respect to the remodeled kitchens, granite countertops, I'm looking at page 12 of your brief.
Yep.
When were those, or do you have any information about when that remodeling was done?
I'm not too sure, and it won't let me access my notes on here, unfortunately.
Okay, fair enough. The other question I had was with respect to the indoor parking. Your brief indicates that there's 186 indoor parking stalls.
Correct.
Where does that information come from? I'm not having you offer any contradictory evidence, but Altus in their brief says that there's 235 indoor parking spots. Was some of that dealt with, or was some of that constructed post-reference, or was that as partly as a result of the permit taken out that you have at page 9 and 10? Or can you?
Yeah, I'm not too sure actually about that. That's a good point. That'd be something I would have to look into after. I'm not 100% sure about that.
Okay. Thank you. I have nothing further.
Thank you, Ian. I have no questions. Mr. Dupont, since we've got the assessor's brief open, shall we deal with your rebuttal regarding, I guess, the cap rate presented by the assessor?
We don't disagree in cap rate on this one,
Okay,
but I could still do a rebuttal even though it does not really apply to this property.
okay, thank you. All right, okay. Thank you very much. Okay, Mr. Dupont, bear with us while we get to your brief. 50 Alpine. When you're ready, please, Mr. Dupont.
Okay, page 1 shows the photo assessment 30 million. We're asking for 25 million 8. Then we can skip a few pages to the aerial photo and the maps on page 6. Now, I think our parking is wrong, but we'll go to the appendix afterwards. So if we go to the going through the pages, so the income approach, the start of the cap rate, page 12, it shows that we agree with the assessor's cap rate at 5.75. Experience shows that most of the high rises would have the 5.75 cap rate. So the next page, 13, is the income approach. And you'll see that the rents that we have, line 8, is a lot lower than the assessor. Sussex reports the income after vacancy, so we don't know what their vacancy is. In 2019, it showed they had discounts, 78,000. 2020, their assignments don't show. So we stabilized at what they actually received for 2020, 2,000,008, and we added the laundry and parking's including those rents above. Insurance, we went with the actual. Our stabilization is fairly normal. Actual insurance 2020, same thing for utilities and same thing for taxes as usual. The caretaking is UGD the last year also, and this is out of line. For line 16, we had the 3-year average as normal. The line 17, it went up quite a bit in 2019. We excluded that year so that we're stabilizing 35. And advertising it there last year, which is in line with the rents that they're trying to charge that year. If you see line 8, the effective gross income did not increase that much from 2017 to 2020, 2,006,000, 2,007,000, 2,008,000, 2,008,406. So it appears that whatever renovations they did for the kitchen and that occurred earlier than that. Then we have the repair and maintenance that we have a special page for that, the next page. So we have it categorized similar to what Sussex had given us. The first 4 items in red, those are items that could be capital expenditures unless they're small amounts like roof. If you do repairs to the roof, we allow that. If you replace the roof, we don't allow it. So we allow the small amount, 2,000 for the roof, because it's occurring in small amounts. Security, we said we stabilize that separately. Other CapEx, you can see 2017, 2018, very large amount, $750,000, 942. My notes are far right says that's a building exterior. And I'll show you that in the financial statements. Parking lot repairs, we've excluded the 2 high years, 2018, 2019. So when we did the average, we exclude those 2 high years so that we're down to 4,000. And red are the items we disallowed in the averages. So miscellaneous interior, there's a really high one, 320,949. So we'll have to look at the 2019 operating statements to determine what that is, but we stabilized excluding the high year. And plumbing, we excluded the 2 high years. And we stabilized at the 2 lower years. And same as HVAC, we excluded the 1 high year, 2017. Fire and safety, we excluded the high year in 2016. So that at the bottom, you have the total repair maintenance for all the items. Then we do less the CapEx, which is the first 4 items in red, and less the waste and snow. And those are the amounts. And then per suite is shown there, 1,900, 18, 24, 5,000, and 1,800. The 5,000 because there's a high miscellaneous interior of 320,000. So we stabilize each individual item. It comes to 1908. And that's what we plugged into the income approach in the previous page. So now we can go to the appendix. So starting on page 20, we have some of the photos also. Page 21 gives you the some description, and it says new modern lighting, fixtures, completely remodeled kitchens and balconies. Then we have the questionnaire. The next questionnaire, page 23, shows indoor parking 186. So our 235 is in error. I'm not sure where we got that, but we should go over what the questionnaire indicates. Then the next page is the start of 2020 income and expense, and that particular statements, they don't give details repair maintenance. So that 1 year we don't have that. The next one, 2019, does give that details on page 25. And we see in red is our notes. And these were how we categorize that. There's no big expenses on that one. And the page 26 is the one that the large expense of 320,000 is shown as interior RM. So they don't give any further description in that. We removed it. They do have separate on the previous page. They have separate for appliance purchase, which was quite low. They have flooring also, page 25, which is quite low. So the miscellaneous interior would not be including appliances and flooring. At the bottom of the page, actually, well, middle, you have flooring 107,000. They had the windows and doors also 53. So all those shows on the spreadsheet for repair and maintenance. The 2018 starts page 28. And the large item at the bottom, page 28, says miscellaneous exterior, 942,000. And that's what we put on top of our page. We excluded that. Then the next page shows the flooring was 101,000. And in 2017, the high expense is shown on page 31. It says miscellaneous exterior again. 742,000. So that's the background for income approach. So back to the income approach on page 13. This was put into the income approach so that we stabilize repair minutes 1908. And that's part of the reasons they're getting the high rents. They get relatively high rents, 1,275 after vacancy that we have, line 8. It's quite high for an apartment built in 1970. For some reason, the assessor is much higher. So the rents that we're saying we should be using are site-specific rents that they're getting from the money they're putting into repair maintenance. These two things matches. And the cap rate we use 5.75. So the NOI is a lot lower. Our income, line 13, is a lot lower. Stabilized expense, we're about 100,000 higher, which is not that much more than the assessor. But we're based on site-specific basis, and so that's my evaluation. I thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Dupont. Mr. Deitchen, any questions of the applicant?
Yes. This is a 1970s building that has been renovated, correct?
Yeah, some suite upgrades, yes, for flooring and appliances, and money they're putting on the exteriors, structural, so it's not renovations per se.
Okay. Looking on your page 13, the cap rate study indicates that a property between 1960 and 1979 should be at 5.5. Do you agree that our cap rate might be a bit high for this property?
No, the cap rates are naturally subjective, and for some reason, the assessment department has done a lot of high rises at 5 3/4. We don't dispute those, and this is just one of them where you have a high cap rate. So this is not out of line with your own valuations. That's what you do normally.
Okay, that's all my questions.
Thank you, Mr. Deitchen. Ian, any questions of the applicant?
I do. I'm having, Mr. Dupont, I'm having some real trouble reconciling some of the financial information that you've provided. I'm looking at your page 14. I'll just let you get to that. Just a minute, sorry, I have to rotate the view here. Okay, your page 14 on the top line, potential gross rents residential, and there's a number, and then there's discounts in the second line, line 2. I'm looking at 2018 and 2019 discounts of $71,407 and $78,596. You see those numbers?
Yep.
Now, those numbers, are those rental incentives, or is that the vacancy allowance, or can you explain that? And the reason I ask is because when I look at your page 23, the amounts for that year for the rent reductions are $6,500. They're under 10% of those numbers. Can you explain the difference?
Page 25 on top, the sixth line, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. The fifth line is 72,000. And there's a rent. Do you see that?
Page 25.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm looking further on. Past the page 26, you've got the residential rent and then the rent reduction of $6,591. I'm looking at page 26. Second line down, rent reduction.
Yeah. We added the 6,500 to the 72,000. The rent reduction is usually the rent reduction they give to the caretaker. So that one is usually the caretaker, and when they say discounts, is what they give to the rest of the tenants.
Oh, okay.
That's all
Thanks.
C6 shows. We added both. So we have 78,000 in our spreadsheet. But in essence, part of that is to go to the caretaker, a small part.
Okay, thank you. That helps explain that. The other thing I'm having some difficulty reconciling is the parking revenue. The parking revenue appears on page just a second here. I think it's 14. Yeah, page 14. Except in the year of the stabilized, that income doesn't seem to have been stabilized and added into the effective gross income.
Page 14, line 10. So that 2020 did not have a separate category for parking, so it was included with the rents. So if we're going with the 2020 statements, which has less details, that's what we did. So we stabilized the actual 2020.
Okay.
The 2019 had more details on repair and maintenance, more detail on the parking and laundry income. They had it separate, but they did not have it separate for 2020.
Okay. The last question question that I have is with respect to the financial statements as part of your, just a second, I think it's in page 33. 33 and 34. The annual statement filed by 50 Alpine Avenue, the total net income that's included with respect to that. I'm just looking, sorry, that's 2018. Just give me a moment to get to it, please. If you look at the 2018 and 2019 and their net incomes, they have deducted both the mortgage payments and a total remit to owners of $1,080,000. That's just profits that have gone to the owners. Is that what that remission is?
Yeah, we don't use that net income approach, and so we don't use the mortgage payments, depreciation, amortization, or what goes to the owners. So that's not part of the income approach.
Right, and if you look at page 28, there's a total net income of $317,000. If you add that to the totals owners clearing of $1,080,000 and the mortgage payment, their calculation of their net income would be about $1.81 million for that year. Is that about right?
I don't have enough time to reconcile everything. We don't start with a net income and add back all the things that we did not allow. We added all the individual items and excluded a bunch. And if I did the maths, we should come to our addition. So now for income on top, we usually don't allow prepaid, which is very small, $76.
Oh yeah, I'm not disputing that. I'm just looking at the mortgage. If you take all of the expenses that they have claimed and you add their mortgage payment of $422,000, their remit to owners of $1,080,000, and their explanation or their calculation of net income of $317,000, you get $1.81 million of an effective net income. And
that does match higher or lower? I'm not sure what you're saying.
That would be higher than what you've shown as a net income of $1.48 million.
I don't know what year you're talking
about.
Okay,
okay, fair enough. I think I might have explained it to myself as I'm going on, but thank you. I have nothing further.
Thanks, Ian. Valerie, any questions of the applicant?
No, mine were just answered. Thank you.
Thank you, Valerie. Mr. DuPont, just a bit of housekeeping here. I think in your request for your valuation, I believe using the cap rate and your NOI, that your amount request should be $1,000 less. should be 25,877,000 rounded rather than 878, if I'm correct. Just for housekeeping here.
25, 8.
77 rounded.
Oh, yeah, rounded. Yeah. Sorry, yeah.
I know it's minor, but you're asking 25,878.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
I 1,000 more. Yeah, okay. I didn't
Okay.
round up properly. Sorry, yeah.
Okay, so that's noted. 25,877 is your request.
Yes.
Corrected. Okay, perfect. All right. I believe that's my only question. Everybody has asked questions that I was wondering about. Also, Mr. Deitchen, any requirement for summary?
No, I think I'm good.
Thank you. Mr. Dupont?
I'm good. Thank you.
Thank you. That concludes 50 Alpine Avenue. Next property on the docket is item number 2, file number 22-886. Address is 86 Niagara Road. And we're dealing with a 2023 Realty Assessment Appeal. I see no preliminary issues noted. Is that correct from both parties?
That's correct.
That's correct.
And is there any rebuttal involved in this particular property at all?
I have to open my file to see if
Okay.
I'm disputing the cap rate or not.
Okay,
Sorry, I don't have that open yet.
no problem.
Oh, yes, we're disputing cap rate on that one.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Dupont. Mr. Deitchen, are you submitting any rebuttal when we get to Mr. Dupont?
Yeah,
Okay, good. All right, thank you. Okay, Mr. Deitchen, if you'd like to begin, 86 Niagara Road when you're ready.
okay. It's file number 22886, roll number 0800-216-6800. Address is 86 Niagara Road. Assessed value is $11,815,000. It's one building, 3 stories high, built in 2011, with 50 suites, 58 indoor parking stalls, and 12 outdoor parking stalls. Page 3 is the income value summary, and we have 14 one-bedrooms, 36 two-bedrooms, giving us 50 suites at an average monthly rent of $15,401. Effective gross income is $879,337. Expenses $359,473. Gives us an NOI of $519,864 with a cap rate of 4.4%. Gives us a value of $11,815,000. Page 4 again is the rent comparables. Try to find similar suite mixes close to same year built. You can see it falls near the bottom of the average monthly rent per unit. Continuing on to page 5, again, is our cap rate evidence to support our model cap rates. Page 6 is our cap rate table showing the 20th to 80th percentiles. Continuing on to page 8, you could see the income and expense mailers, and just looking at them, doing a quick calculation, the NOI is like, once you remove the mortgage interest, the NOI is about $523,000. Model is around, I think, 520, 519. So it looks like we're close on that. Continuing on to page 11, Here are some permits from 2010. Oh, this is the construction of the building for total value of $5,300,000, I think. So it's really small. Continue on to page 12. Are some details of the property, suite features, different stuff like granite countertops, kind of higher end finishes. It looks like maple cabinetry, luxurious carpet, whatever that means. Property features on page 13 kind of shows some of the different building features and amenities. Page 14 and on are some pictures of the interior of the property. And that is my evidence.
Thank you, Mr. Deitchen. Mr. Dupont, any questions of the assessor?
No questions.
Thank you. Okay. Ian, any questions of the assessor?
Just with respect on page 3, the gross potential rent, is that an amalgamation or an accumulation of rent for both the suites and the parking income, or is that just for the suites? Or is
That would just be the suites, and then the effective gross income would be including everything.
Okay. Okay, thank you. I have nothing further.
Thank you, Ian. Valerie, any questions?
Yeah, on the capitalization rate, other than 700 St. Mary's on your chart there, yours is a lot lower than all the rest. Can you just explain to me again how you came up with the 4.40?
There's a lot of factors that go into coming up with the cap rates. I'm not a modeler, so I can't really speak to it too much, but it is a newer building. Higher end finishes, looks very well built. And there's other factors that would go into it, but those would be the main ones, I would think.
Okay, but yet yours is still a lot lower. If you're using those, the addresses there as a type of a model, yours is still a lot lower than what's showing on your.
There are a lot older properties as well.
Okay.
This one's from 2011.
Okay. Okay, thank you.
Yep.
Thank you, Valerie. Mr. Deitchen, I'm looking at the features of the, what page was it? Sorry. The advertising. So it looks like the utilities are included in this rent, page 12, I guess. Sorry.
Yeah, it looks like it, yeah.
Yeah, all utilities included. But not the parking. Would that be accurate? Parking is extra.
I don't know, but I would assume yes.
Yeah. Okay. That was page 13. Sorry. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, 13.
Okay. That's my only question. I'm good. Now, Mr. Dupont, I understand you have a rebuttal on the assessor's evidence presented.
Yeah, could I have a redirect from the questions?
Of course.
Your page 3, when you were asked whether the gross potential included parking, you don't show parking anywhere else. So would you agree that gross potential would be for parking and laundry or all other income?
Sorry, say that again?
Would you agree that your gross potential rent includes parking, laundry, and any other income? Because you have 0 for other income.
Oh, yeah. I guess it would be inclusive then for this property.
Okay, and your cap rate comparables, you say there's some older ones there. There's only one that's newer built, 2015. That's 2390 McPhillips. Would you agree with that?
Yep.
Would you agree that the features for McPhillips are not any better than the features for a subject property?
I'm not too sure off the top of my head.
And you went over the features that it has, but would you say that that is relatively normal for all properties built after 2005, or let's say, would they have more amenities like the subject has?
Are you saying like the features are standard?
They're standard for that age group. Would you not agree?
No, I wouldn't agree with that.
So what features does it have that others don't?
Well, I would say like granite countertops isn't a standard feature. Luxurious carpet, I don't know. I don't think that's standard.
So aside from that, you're saying would everything else be similar?
Potentially, well, even maple cabinetry, I wouldn't say was standard either.
Yeah, but it's not necessarily superior to have maple over other types. Would you agree?
I would say maple is superior over standard cabinets, yes.
It's all question I have.
Thank you, Henry. Actually, I have a question follow-up to that, Mr. Dupont. Mr. Deitchen, in your description on the property, on page, the subject on page 4, it says that it's wood or steel stud construction, and yet I think there's evidence presented by you that it's concrete slab floors construction. But possibly would it be a mix of woods or steel studs for the wall partitions, but the floor system is concrete slab?
Is that from page 12? It says the concrete.
Yeah, that's right. The description of the building. 13, sorry.
13? Oh, okay.
Yeah. Solid concrete soundproof floors.
Oh, yeah. That's probably then the flooring, I would think. I'm not 100% sure.
Yeah. Now, would the model differentiate between that and a wood frame construction? Do you know?
That I'm not too sure.
Okay.
Yeah, sorry.
All right. Fair enough. Thank you. Okay. Mr. Dupont, do you have rebuttal?
Oh, yes, the cap rate rebuttal.
Yes.
You can open that.
And let us find it too.
Yeah, I have to go get it.
I believe it's page 3. Is that right, Ian and Valerie? Or item 3 on our SharePoint?
That's what I have. Applicant rebuttal revised. Is that the one we're looking at?
Yeah, that's the one.
That's the one. Okay, thank you. I've got it.
Okay. Valerie, do you have it?
Yes, I do. Thank you.
Okay. Ian, pardon me. Mr. Deitchen, do you have it?
Not too sure if I do have it. I have one that says R5 cap rate study. That's not it.
No.
No, that's not it. Okay, I'll send it again.
Okay.
Okay. So we'll have to close out and I think we've got the right one. Ian, is it the one in red, rebuttal, the assessor apartment cap rates, various rule numbers? Is that the one you're looking at? Item number?
That's the one I'm looking at. Yes.
Yeah, me too.
Oh, I might have it here. Is it 43 pages long?
Yeah, 42 I've got.
42.
This must
Yeah.
be it. Yeah, it's got the red.
No, I'll send it again, Clayton.
Okay, just to be sure. I think I have it.
I think we've got it, Jazz.
And I'm just sending it to the assessor, Mr. Chair.
Okay. Let us know, Mr. Deitchen, please.
Yep. I got it.
Okay,
Thank you.
Mr. Dupont, when you are ready, please rebuttal evidence.
Okay, so the first page, assessor comparable 2390 McPhillips. And I say the property was bought below market rent. Purchaser adds after purchase indicate rents increased by 245 to 395 over the pro forma rents. We have redone the cap rate using CMHC rents and CMHC vacancy for apartments built after 2005 within the reference year. So the CMHC rents are higher than the pro forma by $104 for 1 bedroom, 184 for 2 bedroom. This is much less than present rents and indicates a higher cap rate. Then Altus has a 5.59% cap rate with the CMHC rents. Now, if you go to the next page, is the workup on that, then it's also part our bar cap rate, but it's a rebuttal to the assessor also. So the rents that they had, line 1 was $13.39 per suite. And if you recall, the assessor has $15.14 for a subject property. And we have $14.15 actual. So that property has lower rents. So the boxes on the far right, it shows what the CMHC vacancy was for built 2005 for the 1 bedroom, the 2 bedrooms. And subject at suite mix, those vacancies come to 3.47. So using the 11 1 bedroom 79.2. So they have a better suite mix, and the subject has more 2 bedrooms in there. Then the CMHC average rent is shown after the vacancy, and it shows what they are for 2019, what they are for 2020. So the 1317 for 1 bedroom, 1557 for 2. When you apply that to the subject suite mix, it's 1528. And the pro forma rents right below it says was 1210 for 1 bedroom, 1373 for 2 bedroom. So the pro forma, the CMHC rents are higher by 104 and 184. So we put that into line 3, the CMHC rents. So the rents, actual rents were below market. They were raised after purchase, and we use the CMHC rents and CMHC vacancy. And I believe the expenses the assessor had and what we have are virtually the same. Same with parking. So the only thing we disagreed on was mainly the rents, because they part of their rebuttal that they've given us over time. They agreed with the rest of the parameters in that income approach. So the next page, page 3, is regards to 700 St. Mary's. As the property was bought with intention to renovate, a spring closed letter from property manager D7. Purchaser was a first-time buyer, so it was his first apartment he ever bought. Property was in rough shape as per D7, and then the previous owner had done nothing for repair and maintenance, so it had low rents and low repair maintenance, and the buyer had the intention to renovate. And the municipal board had the decision to that effect that property bought with the intention to renovate is not relying on the actual income stream. They're relying on income stream after it's been renovated, so therefore it's not a proper cap rate. Assessor comparable 32 Arden, we had that ourselves at the cap rate, but then we discovered that the 2018 laundry income was missing. We found out from the purchaser that he had his sister pick up the laundry, and the Sussex property manager did not have that information. So that cap rate is faulty because it has missing revenue. And also the ad indicates it's been renovated after purchase, so that we have that following in the appendix here. So the next page is CMHC rents and vacancy that we use for 2350 90 McPhillips. Then the next page is the ad with Lady Joyce Apartments at 2390 McPhillips. And it shows the rents, which are much higher, 245 to almost 400 higher than the pro forma, than the actual, not just a pro forma, the actual performance. So we should not be relying upon that because it was below market rent. And page 13 is the letter from D7, the property manager, in regards to 100 St. Mary's. And then after that is the ad on 32 Arden that says recently remodeled units, newer appliances, fridge, stove, and facilities. So that's my rebuttal on this.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. DuPont. Mr. excuse me, Mr. Deitchen, any comments, questions on the rebuttal?
Sorry, I might have missed it, but how come you're using the CMHC rents rather than the actuals?
Because the rents are below market.
But you do it on a site so specific, do you not? Like it's.
We normally do site specific unless the rents are below market, and this one, the ad of the purchaser right after, it's a newer property, so it was not renovated after they bought the property is new, and they just increased the rents by almost up to $400 per suite.
So when are these ads from then? When did they get pulled?
November 2022.
So wouldn't that be post reference though?
Yes, so I'm not using those rents. If I would use
But you're
those
basing
rents,
it on that.
no, that's what alerted me that the rents were below market. And so now I went to CMHC rents, which are within the reference state. Then that's what I put in. And property on the Aqua itself has higher rents than McPhillips.
Okay, that's all my questions.
Thank you, Mr. Deitchen. Valerie, any questions of the applicant's rebuttal evidence?
None right now. Thank you.
Thank you. Ian, any questions?
No, I don't, thanks.
Thank you, and neither do I. Excuse me. Mr. DuPont, 86 Niagara. When we have your brief up, there we are. When you're ready, Mr. DuPont.
Okay, so the I got the wrong report here, sorry. All right, so I got the report. You'll see the photo. The building is shown there in the photo. Sherwood Developments, they've done a few new properties that they built. And we can go to the map shows the aerial photo, etc. And I believe that's not germane. So the cap rate section starts on page 12. So before the cap rate, we have the 2020 tax calculations, so that we calculated the taxes based on the assessment, the 2020 assessments and the mill rate. And that's what we'll put into our income approach. And then, so we dispute the assessor's cap rate 4.4%. We use 5.25%. And based on our cap rate study, and in the table, there's the cap rate we use for the different age groups. And that's the same age groups that we settled the 2020 assessments at the municipal board with the assessment department. So this one will fit in 1999 plus. So the subject is built 2011, and so we're using 5.25 based on the cap rate study, and one of our main comparables is 2390 McPhillips at 5.59% cap rate. And then we have the cap rates from the brokers, the Colliers, CBRE, Cushman, as shown there. So their cap rate that they had for 2018, showing that the first quarter versus 2021 first quarter, and Colliers has a 5 to 6%, and the high rise they have 5.6%. CBRE low rise A 5.25 to 5.75%, and the low rise B does not apply. And the Cushman low rise 5 to 5.75. And they have a high rise 4.5 to 5.5, which the reverse to the assessor who gives a higher cap rate for a high rise. But none of these cap rates will support the assessors at 4.4%. It's much too low. Their computer model came up with a really low cap rate on this. And we use those brokers report as background information, and then the main data to look at is actual cap rate comparables. So the next page is the income approach. So page 14. So you'll see the line 3, that's the actual rents that they've had for 2017 to 2020. Some 98 went up to 810, 824, 848. So we stabilized at 848. The vacancy was kind of low. The assessor vacancy is 3.2. We went in between. We went 2.2% vacancy. For our line 3, the actual rents received is $14.15 per suite, and the assessor is $15.14. They don't add parking, so when we get to line 13, we're almost exactly the same as the assessor. We are 880,000, and the assessor is 879. So there's very little dispute in the rents. The expenses, we stabilize most items as normal. So the actual 2020 for insurance, utilities, caretaker, taxes, taxes, the normals, we use the actual taxes. And just that if you'll see line 30, taxes were 122, then they reported 87. So that alerted me that the taxes may be off. And that's why I did the calculation of the taxes. So sometimes the owners report tax refunds off the tax. So we calculated the taxes. We did that the previous page. Then repair maintenance, line 27, we stabilized at 1,057, which is quite low, but that's because it's a newer property and it's going to go up over time when they start to replace the appliances and the carpeting. And that's based on the 3-year average. You'll see that line 27 that it was 52, 52, 52. Well, actually, all 3 years are around 52 even. That's what we stabilized at. So the our NOI line 33, we're 496, the assessor 519. So we're not that far apart, but ours is site specific. So I believe you should be using ours because we're site specific. And the big dispute is in the cap rate, 5.25 versus 4.4%. We also have the photos and the ads that the assessor has. We have the financial statements in the appendix. So the photos and the ads start page 31 to the amenities, etc., which I believe are relatively normal for properties like that. So whatever features that it has is captured in the rents. That's my report on this part. I would be presenting cap rate studies separately. I'm open for questions now.
Thank you, Mr. Dupont. Mr. Deitchen, any questions of the applicant's brief?
Oh, sorry, no questions.
Thank you, Mr. Deitchen. Valerie, any questions of the applicant?
None at this time, thank you.
Thank you. Ian, any questions?
No, I don't, thank you.
Thank you. And I have no questions. Now, Mr. Deitchen, do you have rebuttal on any of this brief presented?
The rebuttals for the cap rate study. I don't know, like, do I talk about that now or?
Well, yeah, Mr. Deitchen, or pardon me, Mr. Dupont has just presented, so
Oh.
I think this will be a good time to deal with it.
Okay, because I thought you were going to present from the cap rate study.
I haven't presented my cap rate study yet.
Okay,
I presented the rebuttal to the assessor's cap rate, but not my own cap rate.
I apologize. Okay, Mr. Dupont, shall we do that now? And then we'll have questions on that. And let's find it in our SharePoint here.
It's R6, apartment cap rate study.
Or R5. R5? Yeah, it's R5. R5.
R5, yeah.
Oh, okay.
So the very bottom, Mr. Chair.
Yes, do we have this added on the SharePoint already?
Yeah,
Okay.
it's at the very bottom.
Right, item 23, 148 pages. Is that right, Mr. Dupont?
Around that.
Yeah, okay.
I have R6 now, so I know what I've added, so I'll stop. So it'd be around 148 that I have to
Okay.
check. Yeah.
Valerie, do you have it? Ian, do you have it?
You got it, thanks.
Mr. Deitchen?
Yep, I have the R5 one.
Okay, and when you're ready, Mr. Dupont.
So I believe we can jump to page 5. The cap rates that we had for 2020, the age group, which is the same age group we had, and then shows the final settle good locations were those. So for 1999, we had settle at 5.25. The assessor's cap rate for 2020 was as low as 4.2 to 5, and we had settle at the end of 5.25. And then next page, page 6 is our cap rates. And that would be for all the properties here today. But the ones applicable to this property in NAC was the first comparable, 2390 McPhillips, and the last 333 Ward, 718 Beach, 100 Southview. Those are 3 newer properties at the end, and 2390 McPhillips. We show the age and we show our cap rate, 5.59. Then we show the other age groups. So the final page 7, the table is that's the R cap rates, our estimated cap rates from the data is shown in that table, and that's a table we show in our reports. Then we show the Appendix A, which is the city cap rates samples, and they kind of all over the place as to their the cap rate, the vacancy, and the what their difference is, or what they change the cap rates on a lot of them. So the computer model has not been explained to us by the assessors at hearings. Sometimes they're very low, like this one at 4.4. A lot of high rise are 5.75. Now we can. I'm going to go ahead to Appendix D, which starts at page 44. And that's the cap rate on 2390 McPhillips. So you can see that well, we have a little bit better, some figures have been squished too far, and now it's more legible. But it's basically the same thing. We took the rents for 2390 McPhillips, and we plugged in the Shimichi rents. And then we get the cap rate 5.59%. The remarks at the bottom shows the some of the features it has: ensuite washer and dryer, 5 appliances, which is normal for newer properties, which 86 Niagara has. Ensuite pantry storage, multi-purpose room, stainless steel appliance, 146% parking, balconies. Then we also had the repair maintenance, which is fairly low, which is to be expected. Then we page 47 has the pro forma, and that's what the agent was putting out when they were selling it, and it shows the features that it has. Then the right, they had the information and the rents on the next page. So on the right side of the next page, it has the rents. The unit rent $1,210 for 1 bedroom, and $1,300 to $1,550 for the 2 bedrooms. They have some of the interior suite descriptions, appliances, balcony, patio, suite layouts, etc. And then we have the financial statements, which is the same statements as the assessor has, and their rebuttal. So I believe we agree on the expenses, the stabilization expenses on that one. Then the next page is the workup on page 56 and 555 Corden. I believe most of these older properties, the assessor is in agreement or close to what we have calculated for the cap rates. And then maybe we should skip ahead to the last 3. A lot of paperwork, too much to scroll down to see where we are. 333 Ward, page 104. So we built 2006. We had 3 years of financial statements. We stabilized that. We come to 507. And I believe the assessor is almost the same as us on that one. So that's one newer property with the full data that we had. Then we have the financials there from Colliers, etc. Beach is next, but I don't think that's that big of a difference with the assessor's calculations on that. The last one that we have, start at page 134. So we show that we have the assessors as of April 1st, 2016, what revenue they had, same as fair tax when they did the appeal in 2016, the pro forma. So I had 3 sources, and we stabilized based on fair tax, was the higher rent of the 3 sources, and we get a cap rate of 5.59% on that one. And it shows the photos on that, so it's a newer property, built 2014. Had a lot of nice features, and it was advertised the pro forma was advertised with a cap rate of 5.4%. That's how they put it up for sale. They would take usually a rosy look and ask for 5 or less percent, and then if you have a list price that's or sell price that's lower, would bring the cap rate up. But they started with 5.4%, and so the sale price came close to their asking price. So that would be my submission on the cap rate.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Dupont. Mr. Deitchen, are we going to just go to your rebuttal to 2023 Altus cap rate study? Is that what we're doing now? Would that be fair?
I just had one quick question regarding
Okay.
this. Looking on page 3, does this chart not indicate that cap rates are compressing over the past several years?
Yeah, it's a national cap rate. So we should not be using that. Should be using cap rate comparables. In the end, this is background information, and in the end we use cap rate comparables.
But then how come this is in your evidence here?
Because we give background information on a whole bunch of stuff, and then we rely on the 10 comparables.
Okay, that's all my question.
Thank you. Ian, any questions of the cap rate study presented by the applicant?
No, I don't. Thank you.
Thank you. Valerie, any questions?
None, thank you.
And I have none either. So I guess, Mr. Deitchen, we should go to your rebuttal to the cap rate study presented by the by Altus Group.
Okay.
Item 24, I believe, on our Valerie, Ian, do you have it?
I do.
Version 2.
Yes,
Mr. Dupont, do you have it?
No, could you please send that to me?
Yeah, I'll send it right now.
Let us know when you've got it, Henry, please.
Okay.
Got it?
Not yet.
It would read rebuttal to the 2023 Altus cap rate study. City of Winnipeg, Henry.
Yeah, I'm just not getting any emails. My last email is at noon.
You mind refreshing it?
Oh, okay, I got it. It just came in now. Okay, got it.
Are you able to open it, Mr. Dupont?
Yeah, I got it. Yeah, thank you.
Perfect. Okay, Mr. Deitchen, when you're ready, please. Rebuttal to the rebuttal.
Okay, I think I'll just kind of skip, because I think the most important one is 2390 McPhillips on page 3. The biggest difference comes from the rents that we use compared to theirs. We use the actual rents, whereas they use the CMHC rents. So I think that's the biggest difference here. I think everything else is pretty close to the same. And our cap rate is 4.79. percent.
Okay,
I don't want to spend too much time on it.
yeah, okay, fair enough.
I think the other one you kind of touched on was 100 Southview, but we don't have anything for that because we didn't have any income expense mailers prior to the sale in 2016. So
Okay,
yeah, that's all.
thank you. Mr. Dupont, any questions?
Yes, your page 2, in green, you have the city calculations of the cap rates.
Mhm.
So 555 Corden, we're at 5.73 at 5.74, so you agree. And Maryland, you're virtually the same as us, and you agree. And 210 St. Mary's, you're 5.71%. But our cap rate for that age group is 5.75. So in essence, you're agreeing with our cap rates. And that one would you?
For those ones, yeah, looks like it.
No, Ward and Beach are fairly close to what we calculated. Those are newer properties, and you're at 5. You don't have a calculation for 100 Southview. And you say it's non-usable because there was a pro forma, but it had a lot of information in the pro forma, and we had other information. So then you had your 3 other cap rates. You had that at the bottom, 32 Arden, St. Mary's, and Bertrand. But you don't have any workups on those cap rate comparables.
I don't think it's in this document, no.
And you have the financials.
Not in this document, no.
Oh, so someone at St. Mary's where the property manager says it was low rents and low repair maintenance, you don't have the background to know whether that is in fact true or not.
No, not off the top of my head, no.
It's all questions.
Thank you, Mr. Dupont. Ian, any questions of the assessor?
No, I don't. Thank you.
Thank you. Valerie?
None, thank you.
And I have none either. Can both parties confirm that we will carry this information forward and to be used in consideration on the remaining properties on the docket?
Yes.
Yes.
Thank you. Thank you very much. I believe, do we have a requirement for a summary by either party for 86 Niagara Road? Mr. Deitchen, no. Mr. Dupont?
No.
Okay, thank you. That concludes 86 Niagara Road. Next item on the docket is item number 4. Before we start, does anybody require a quick break? Ian?
No, I'm good to keep going. Whatever's
Okay. Everybody good? Okay.
I had a question. Was 185 Fernwood withdrawn?
Yes.
Okay, I must have missed that.
Yeah, that was withdrawn on the original docket. Yes. So next item is item number 4, 193 Fernwood Avenue. File number is 22-1553. Address is 193 Fernwood Avenue. And we're dealing with a 2023 realty assessment appeal. No preliminary issues, I believe. So, Mr. Deitchen, let's get back to that property. Sorry, I got to scroll through our SharePoint here. Where are you? Okay. Is everybody there? Okay, Mr. Deitchen, 193 Fernwood Avenue, when you're ready, please.
Okay. File number 22-1553, roll number 0800-2455-100. Address is 193 Fernwood Avenue. Assessed value is at $2,443,000. It is one building, 3 stories high, built in 1960 with 24 suites and 24 outdoor parking stalls. On page 3 is the income value summary. There's 6 1-bedrooms and 18 2-bedrooms, gives us 24 suites at $920.69 per unit. The effective gross income is $256,674. Expenses $128,440, gives us an NOI of $128,234. With a cap rate of 5.25%, that gives us the value of $2,444,000 or $43,000. Page 4 is the rent comparables again. Tried to find similar suite mixes built around the same year, and you can see it once again falls in the lower end of the average monthly rent per unit. Page 5 is the cap rate evidence supporting our model cap rates. Page 6 is the cap rate table. Page 8 and 9 is the income and expense mailers. Just going off of page 9's information, if you remove the amortization of the property equipment, it comes out to an NOI of around $145,000, and our model is around 128, so it looks like we're pretty good on that. Page 10 is just some information on the property, and page 11 is a picture. Unfortunately, there's no interior pictures that I could find of the building, and that is my evidence.
Thank you, Mr. Deitchen. Mr. Dupont, any questions of the assessor's evidence?
No questions.
Thank you. Valerie, any questions of the assessor?
None at this time. Thank you.
Thank you. Ian, any questions?
No, I don't. Thank you.
I have no questions either. Mr. Dupont, we shall pull up your brief. Mr. Dupont, when you're ready, please, 193 Fernwood Avenue.
You'll see the photo at the beginning, an older property. And the assessor didn't go through his photos in the back, but our appendix, page 16, shows the ads that they have. And it's what they don't have, so they don't say anything about renovated or anything good, or showing it's better than normal. It just says it's charming, quiet, and spacious. Building amenities are quite normal also. So that if we go to our income approach, the page 12, the cap rate. So for this age group, 60 to 98, low rise, it's 5.5%. And the assessor's cap rate comparables and their rebuttal indicates that they agree with our cap rates for properties of that age group. So then page 13 is the revenue and expense we have. So on this one, same as other Sussex, I guess. 2020, they have less details, but we use line 13, their actual effective gross income, and that happens to be almost exactly the same as the assessor. So we don't dispute the income. The line 31, the expenses were only 5,000 higher than the assessor. We're stabilizing each individual item. Fairly normal. There's nothing that really stands out anywhere. The insurance, I checked it, it went 75 down to 24 to 97. Then 2021 is 10,000 also. So that's the previous year was the year was off. So the actual 97, 91 should be used. So then the line 33 NOI were 6,000 less in the assessor. And then we have the cap rate difference, 5.5 to 5.25. And the next page, page 14, is the repair maintenance that we broke down. And you'll see that We excluded the roof they had in 1 year, 2016, another high year, 2019. And for appliances, we excluded the one higher year. And it's only 68 per suite, and the maximum that we have is 225. The maximum is based on a 8-year life. So if they replace their appliances every 8 years, it would be 225. So they're much less than that, but we still disallowed the high year. Fire and safety would disallow the high year, and so remaining repair and maintenance, we also disallowed the high year. So we come to 1811 repair and maintenance. That's what is done on the previous page, and that's my submission.
Thank you, Mr. Dupont. Mr. Dupont, would you mind stating your requested value?
Oh, 2,224,25,000.
Thank you.
We round off.
Mr. Deitchen, any questions of the applicant?
No questions.
Thank you. Valerie, any questions?
None, thank you.
Ian, any questions?
I just one, just to confirm, Mr. Dupont, that the submitted request is based on a cap rate of 5.5%.
Yes, that's correct.
Okay, thank you. That's my only question.
Thanks, Ian. And I have no questions. Excuse me. Any requirement for summary by either party?
No, thank you.
Mr. Dupont?
No, thank you.
Thank you. That concludes 193 Fernwood Avenue. Next property in the docket is item number 5. File number 22-2769. Address is 20 Morrow Avenue. And dealing with a 2023 assessment appeal. Mr. Deitchen, allow us to get to your brief, please. When you're ready, Mr. Deitchen.
Okay, file number 222769, roll number 080024000500. Address is 20 Morrow Avenue, and the assessed value is $5,017,000. It is one building, 2 stories high, built in 1969, with 48 suites and 48 outdoor parking stalls. Page 3 has the income value summary, and it has 12 one-bedrooms, 36 two-bedrooms, for a total of 48 total units at an average monthly rent of $1,104.27. Effective gross income is $615,706. Expenses are $352,307, gives us an NOI of $263,399. At a cap rate of 5.25%, gives us the value of $5,017,000. Page 4 is the rent comparables. Once again, just trying to find similar properties in the area. You can see, once again, it falls the low end of the average monthly rent per unit. Page 5 is the cap rate evidence supporting our model cap rates. Page 6 is the cap rate table. Page 8 has the income and expense mailers, same with 9 and 10. You can see over since 2017 to 2020 that the maintenance and decorating is very high. It seems like 2019 is probably the only relatively normal year, and it's still kind of a higher repair and maintenance. Just looking at the 2019 NOI, it looks like we're pretty close. Page 11 has some information about the property with some pictures of the interiors, and you can see some work has been done to the interiors, especially in the bathroom with new countertops, cabinets, flooring in the kitchen, and that is my evidence.
Thank you, Mr. Deitchen. Mr. Dupont, any questions of the assessor's evidence?
No, I don't.
Thank you. Ian, any questions?
Just one, the pictures with respect to the interiors that are found at page 11 and following. Do you know when those renovations were done or that upkeep was done?
I don't, unfortunately. There was no permits to indicate any of that, and I couldn't find any notes on it.
Okay, thank you.
Thanks, Ian. Valerie, any questions?
Were you in this building at any time?
No, I have not been in there.
Thank you.
Thanks, Valerie. Mr. Deitchen, we repeatedly see the notes sold as of December 15th, 2020, and yet there's no sale listed. Do you have any information on a sale on that property?
Sorry, say that again?
We repeatedly see written in the notes on the income statements that it's sold as of December 15th, 2020. Do you have any information on a sale on the subject property?
I do not. Sorry, am I missing that?
Yeah, it's written in pen, blue pen on the, on page, for instance, page.
Oh, down.
Yeah, I see.
No, sorry, I don't. Yeah, I don't have info on that. And it
Okay.
doesn't look like it was in our system because it would have came up on the sale history. But
Yeah, that's right. There's no sales history
that's what I
here.
was wondering. Yeah, no, I
Okay.
couldn't find anything on that.
Okay, thank you. That's my only question. Mr. DuPont, let us get your brief, please.
Could I redirect?
Of course.
I'm always curious, and I never asked, the information you have that you pulled there for the photos and that, is that a current, something you pulled out recently?
Yeah,
For this hearing?
yeah, just a few weeks ago.
Right, okay, so that it's as of today or okay, I'm just wondering if you had done that before the reference date.
No,
Okay, it's all questions.
I don't know when those pictures are from though.
Thank you. Now, Mr. DuPont.
Yeah, you'll see the photos at page 1, and my appendix is exactly the same thing from the assessor. I pulled that out.
Now, before you start, Mr. DuPont, we have a problem here. I don't see a brief for 20 Morrow. I assume that 24 Morrow is its twin. Is that possible? And a different file number, or am I missing something here?
Oh, yeah, okay. I have the 24 Morrow, okay, which is on the front, which is wrong. It's wrong. I'm sorry. So we just have the wrong address. I'll have to check the roll number, make sure we had the right one.
Yeah. Different file number too.
400500. It's the same roll number. The file is wrong. 2769. That's the same file number.
Yes. I guess probably the wrong address, right?
Yeah, just the wrong address. Then the rest of my report shows 20 Morrow.
Okay. I just wanted to make sure we're good here. Yeah.
So just a typo on the cover page.
Okay. So for the record, we'll show that this brief is addressed wrong. Would that be fair? Yeah. Okay. So roll number is 24500. That and file number matches. Okay. Thank you, Mr. DuPont. When you're ready, please.
Let's see now. I'm just have slightly less value also. I have 5015 and it's wrong. Should be 5017. So the first page where we show the actual value or actual real estate, realty assessment.
All right. Okay.
So it's a little typo there. So it should be 5017.
Okay.
So the cap rate would be around page 8 or 9. Page 12.
13.
12 at the bottom. 13 is the
Work on.
Adobe numbering, and they count the cover page, and we don't. Anyway, so the bottom of the page, page 12. So it's age 1969. It's 5.5 for that age group, and that's what we've used. So the next page is the income approach. So it shows the rents that they has. The vacancy line 5 was 7.5% for 2020. It's 11.5 months. And in blue it says sold, and that's why they have only 11.5 months. And I checked for the sale of 5 months with the share sale. So that's one of those that sell for $1. So then we prorated line 3, the income that it got. So we prorated divided by 11.5 times 12 to get the yearly potential gross rents. Then we applied a cap rate 5% instead of the actual of 7.5%, and did 3-year average for bad debt. And the laundry, we prorated the laundry and parking. So it shows at the far right of what we did. We took the 2020 11.5 months prorated. So line 13, we're 620. We're slightly higher than the assessor 615. So for stabilization, we use the actual insurance. We didn't think that needed prorating. Management 5%, the legal fees and other. We stabilize 16, excluding the high year 2020. The other line, number 17, we did 3-year average. And we prorated the advertising, hydro, water to get those particular costs. Waste and snow, we just used a 3-year average. Repair maintenance, we did separately, which we'll go to next. And we prorated the actual wages and benefits caretaking. And we use the actual reported taxes. So line 33, the net operating income, we're 261, the assessor 263, so it's very similar. So we're basically undisputed NOI. So our main dispute would be the cap rate, 5.5. The remarks, it says share sale as of December 15, 2020. The next page is the repair maintenance. It shows the amounts that they're spending. So it shows that they're spending relatively large amounts for flooring each and every year. So they're doing on the turnover. They're replacing the flooring. Appliance replacement is 160 per suite versus the maximum 225. So they're less than an 8-year turnover, but they're still doing it relatively regular. Painting, we maxed it out at 225. They were higher, so we're at 49.5% of actual. Pest control, we excluded 2 high years, so it comes to 2407. Then we have the same ad and photos as the assessor has. So they're upgrading the suites on a turnover basis. Because that's indicated with the history that it's not done in 1 year, it's done on a gradual basis, on a recurring basis. So the high rents that they get, 1,096 per suite, is based on the high repair maintenance, and the 2 are matching or balanced. And so that's my report. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Dupont. Could you please state your requested value?
4,747,000.
Thank you. Mr. Deitchen, any questions of the applicant?
Do you agree that 2,400 R&M per suite is very high.
It matches the high rents. It's site specific, and you can't use the high rents without using the high repair maintenance that they're using to get there.
On page 15, where did you get the breakdowns of the repairs and maintenance? Because on the INEs, it doesn't look like they give you that.
Oh, yeah, it's a Global Journal. They give us the general ledgers for all their properties.
Is that in your evidence?
No, we usually don't give it. Now,
Okay, that's all my question.
Thank you, Mr. Dykston. Valerie, any questions of the applicant?
No, none, thank you.
Thank you. Ian, any questions?
Just with respect to the share sale, was this property then re-registered as transfer in land titles?
yes, the owner's Edinburgh now, I believe. It's shown on my page 27.
Okay, then that would have had a stated value as well when it was filed in land titles, right? Do you know what that land value was?
No, it doesn't show up as a sale. So I believe a share sale doesn't show up as $1. It doesn't show up at all. It's just a change of shares. So I guess that's all they register land titles, the change of owner.
As long as it's not arm's length, that's true. But was this an arm's length sale or a non-arm's length sale of shares?
I believe it was arm's length. It was Globe General sold to a new purchaser. And it's done by share sale, and most share sales do not divulge the sale price. The exact mechanics, I'm not too sure. I knew at one time how it was done legally, but on this one, I did not get the details as to how it was done. But there's no sale as shown. I checked their Sabre to see if there was a sale, and it doesn't show.
Okay, thank you. I have nothing further.
Thanks, Ian. I have no questions. Either party requirement for summary?
No, thanks.
Mr. Dupont?
No, thanks.
Thank you. That concludes 20 Morrow Avenue. Next item on the docket is item number 6, file number 22-2176. Address is 21 Morrow Avenue. And we are dealing with a 2023 Realty Assessment Appeal. Mr. Dykston, bear with me one second. Okay, Mr. Dykston, 21 Morrow Avenue, when you're ready, please.
Did we want to deal with this one plus 285 St. Anne's back to back because they're sister properties? I don't know if that makes sense.
Well, they're separate appeals, so we'll do them separately, please.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
That's totally fine. File number 222176, roll number 0800217120. Address is 21 Morrow Avenue. The assessed value is $2,331,000. Is one building 2 stories high, built in 1962, with 23 suites and 18 outdoor parking stalls. Page 3 is the income value summary. There's 14 one-bedrooms and 9 two-bedrooms, giving us 23 units at an average monthly rent of $881.79. The gross effective income is 235,586. Excuse me. The expenses are 114,377, giving us an NOI of 121,209 at a cap rate of 5.2%. Gives us a value of $2,331,000. Page 4 is the rent comparables. Once again, tried to find similar suite mixes in the area built around the same time. You can see once again it falls in the low end of the average monthly rent per unit range. Page 5 is the cap rate evidence that supports the model cap rates. Page 6 is the cap rate table. Page 9 is the income and expense mailers. Yeah, they're combined with 285 St. Anne's, so I guess it's kind of hard to determine exactly what's for what. I guess, yeah, there's that. On page 12, it talks about the suites and that it was upgraded in 2016. Upgraded wood style kitchen cabinetry, upgraded bathrooms, new vanities, basins, tubs, gleaming hardwood floors, and some other features of the building. Page 13 forward kind of shows you some pictures of the suites. I guess going back to the income and expense mailers, I just did a quick calculation that if you remove the major expenditures and apply a 1,500 R&M, because R&M is quite high on this property. I can't remember exactly I think it's around 2,000 a unit. It gives us an NOI of 240,000 for the combined two. Split that in half would be 120, and that's where our model NOI is at right now. And that is my evidence.
Thank you, Mr. Dyson. Mr. Dupont, any questions of the assessors?
Where did you get the 1,500 R&M?
That's kind of an average R&M that we use, above average R&M that we use when R&Ms are high, because it's hard to tell what kind of capital is in those R&Ms. As you can see, the place is renovated, so there could be capital applied to those.
I've had assessors testify that they thought that 2,000 was the highest it would go at.
I never testified that. I don't know. Where is that from?
Ken Wong said that in the hearing last week or so, or
Recently.
That's the highest.
Mr. Dupont, let's stick with what this assessor is presenting, okay?
Right.
Yeah, thank you.
No, okay. So would you know whether other assessors are agreeing that with this 1,500 R&M, or is that just something you came up today?
It is something that we have seen by looking at many income expense mailers, and that is on the higher end.
That's all questions.
Thank you, Mr. Dupont. Ian, any questions?
No, I don't. Thank you.
Thank you. Valerie, any questions?
Just curious, on the previous address at 20 Morrow, you were at 5.25 cap. In this one, you're at 5.20. Where's the difference in both in those?
I would have to pull that one back up. I'm not.
You know, I'd with all due respect, Valerie, I'd rather not let information from one property leak into the next property, if possible. Thank you.
Okay, and then how did you come up with the 5.20 cap on this property?
That was from the model.
Okay, thank you.
Thanks, Valerie. And I have no questions. Mr. Dupont?
Yeah, you can go to page 11. So the cap rate for that age group, It's built 1962, it's 5.5%. We have the cap rate from 1960 to 1998, all the way to 1998, and this is at the low end. So we have 5.5%. The stabilization at page 12, under remarks, it shows renovations in 2015, 2016. We have some of the same ad as the assessor has, so you saw the photos. So they have done some renovations prior to this. So the revenue and expense we have here, top, you'll see the 20 Merrill. I show the revenue of the information on it and the suite count, the and 285, because we have to split the 2020, which combined the two statements. So that if we did it on the room basis, is 49% versus 51. They're both 23 suites. If we did by suites, it'd be 50%. So even by room basis, it's close to 50. So we use 50% to allocate that one year, 2020. Except that the revenue and expense statements show the potential for each property. So we use the potential line 1 from the financials, 244,000. That's what we stabilized at. Actual vacancy was 6% that year. The year before was 11.6. So even though it was renovated in 2016, they're still having problems with the market accepting those rents, or maybe they raised the rents more. 2017, you see the rents were 2011, they went up to 232. So they're pushing the rents some more. The market is pushing back. They give it 6% vacancy. Average is 8% for 3 years. We stabilize at 5.1, which I believe is relatively conservative. And we added laundry, parking, site specific. The expenses, we did it as normal. So everything is relatively normal. We did the repair maintenance as a 5-year average. It comes to $18.95 per suite. And there's no breakdown of the repair maintenance for this report, but it shows line 27 what the repair maintenance is, and that's what we stabilized at, the 5-year average. So it was renovated 2015, 2016. These are the expenses after renovations. Usually it's lower, but I guess the level of repair maintenance still requires upkeep on the turnover, and even at the high repair maintenance, they still have the vacancy problem. So the repair maintenance matches the rents that they're getting, and so that would be my report. So we apply 5.5 cap rate. Our value is 2,022,000. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. DuPont. Mr. Deitch, any questions of the applicant?
Yeah, I might have missed it, but how did you come to a 5.1% vacancy?
Yeah, you did miss it because I am not sure how I arrived at it.
Okay, no further questions.
Yeah, it's less than actual. It's in between yours and the actual, so I'm not too sure. Maybe it's an average between the two. 9.2 is the 2, and half of that would be 4.6. No, I don't know exactly how I arrived at 5.1.
Great. No other questions. Thanks.
Thank you, Mr. Deitch. Valerie, any questions?
None, thank you.
Thank you. Ian, any questions?
No, thank you.
Thank you. And I have no questions either from Mr. DuPont. Any requirement for a summary by either party?
No, thank you.
Mr. DuPont?
No, thank you.
You're good. Okay, so that concludes 21 Morrow Avenue. Before we proceed, my question is the twin to this, we'll call it the twin, is item number 9, 285 St. Anne's Road. Is that right?
Correct.
Um,
I'll have the same info and evidence for that one, so I don't know if you want to just.
yeah, you know what? I think we're gonna recess for
Okay.
10 minutes, and then we'll decide how we're gonna proceed, whether we're gonna go out of order there. Okay, Jazz,
Yep.
could you put us in camera? Thank you, Jazz. I will now call the hearing back to order. We are going to deal next with item number 9, file number 22-2190, address 285 St. Anne's Road, seeing as it's the twin to the property we just dealt with at 21 Morrow Avenue. That we're dealing with a 2023 realty assessment appeal. And does everybody have the brief up from the assessor? Okay. Except me. Wrong one. Okay. Okay, Mr. Deitchen, 285 St. Anne's Road, item number 9, please.
File number 222190. Rule number 080021700800. Address is 285 St. Anne's Road. Assessed value is at $2,276,000. It is one building, 2 stories high, built in 1961, with 23 suites and 15 outdoor parking stalls. Page 3 has the income value summary. There's 11 one-bedrooms and 12 two-bedrooms, giving us 23 suites at $882.08 average monthly rent per unit. Gross effective income is $235,663. Expenses $116,158. NOI is $119,505 at a cap rate of 5.25%, gives us a value of $2,276,000. Same rent comparables as last time, as previous property. Page 5 and 6 is the cap rate information. Page 8 and 9 and 10 are the same income and expense information as before. Same comments kind of go as before. It's a higher R&M. If you use 1,500, we're around 120,000 NOI, like the model is. And then the same pictures from page 11 forward. And that is my evidence.
Thank you, Mr. Deitchen. Mr. Dupont, any questions of the assessor's evidence?
No questions.
Thank you. Ian, any questions of the assessor?
No, I don't. Thank you.
Thank you. Valerie?
None, thank you.
Thank you. And I have no questions either. Mr. Dupont, let us find your brief, please. 285 St. Anne's Road. When you're ready, Mr. Dupont.
The appendix page 21, the description page that they have from the questionnaire. It does have separate for 285 St. Anne's, and that's the page they show the rent. And I put in red 246,848, and I did the same thing with the Morrow property. And that's where I got the specific rents for that property. And then after that, it's the combined. So the rent part is separate. So if you go to, I guess our the cap rate, I do have additional information, page 12. I show the cap rate that the assessor has for all properties on this hearing. Shows the properties so that they vary slightly. So 261 St. Anne's for some reason is 505, and others 525, some 5.3, some 5.2. Bunch of 5.25, and then the high rise is 5.75, and the newer property is 4.4. So the next page, page 13, is income approach, and I have to rotate it. So it's very similar to the previous one on 21 Morrow, but you'll see that the income, line 1 is the site-specific income, 246,848. So that's what it says in the remarks, and that's from that page that I showed you. And the vacancy is not as high. The other ones had the 11% vacancy. So I stabilized at 5.8% vacancy, and the other one is, well, I guess we shouldn't say what I said on the other one, but it was probably too low on the other one. Anyways, line 13, we're slightly higher than the assessor. And then the repair and maintenance, we stabilized the average 2016, 17, 2020. Then we excluded the 2 high years in the middle. That's 2,030 per suite. And so the cap rate applied 5.5 to get the value of 1,975,000. And that's my report. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Dupont. Mr. Deitchen, any questions of the applicant?
Not really for the applicant, but for the board. I was just wondering, are we supposed to be putting in previous board decisions in our evidence?
They're not
Or allowed to,
decisions.
I guess.
They're
You know what, Mr. Deitchen, is this relevant to this particular evidence presented?
Well, it's on his page 13. I just haven't seen it before, so I was just curious, I guess.
Yeah, well, you know what I'll say to you is the panel will look at the evidence, but make a decision on the appropriate weight we'll put on that evidence.
Okay, no, I was just curious. That's
Okay,
all. Thanks.
sure. Anything else?
No, that was all. Thanks.
Okay, thank you. Ian, any questions of the applicant?
Just some confirmation, Mr. Dupont, with respect to the workup at your page 13. Just to be clear, that isn't a site-specific workup for this property or the other property. It's a combination of the two and then divided by 2. Is that fair to say?
No, 2016, 17, 18, 19 are separate. They were separate. Only 2020, they combined. So for 2020, I went half for each one. So I half the revenue and half the expenses. And then I stabilize all 4 or 5 years put together. So their repair and maintenance, the 5 years that we used, they were totally different repair and maintenance, except for 2020.
Okay, thank you.
Thanks, Ian. Valerie, any questions?
None, thank you.
Thank you. And I have no questions either. Requirement for summary, Mr. Deitchen?
No, thank you.
Mr. Dupont?
No, thank you.
Thank you. That concludes item number 9, 287 St. Anne's Road. Now we're going to go back to item number 7. And that'll be file number 22-3163. Address is 34 Morrow Avenue. And we're dealing with a 2023 Realty Assessment Appeal. And before you start, Mr. Deitchen, we have to go backwards and find that brief of yours. 34 Morrow, there we are. Ian, Valerie, have you got it?
Yep, thanks.
Thank you.
Yep, thank you.
All right, 34 Morrow. Mr. Deitchen, when you are ready, please.
It's file number 223163, rule number 0800240100. Address is 34 Morrow Avenue. Assessed value is at $5,731,000. It is 1 building, 2 stories high, built in 1968, with 51 suites and 48 outdoor parking stalls. Page 3 shows 27 one-bedrooms, 24 two-bedrooms, giving us 51 units at an average monthly rent of $1029.31. The gross effective income is at $609,780. Expenses $308,915, giving us an NOI of $300,863 or $65 at a cap rate of 5.25%. Gives us a value of $5,731,000. Page 4, once again, is the rent comparables. Tried to find similar properties, similar year built, suite mixes. You can see that the average monthly rent again is at the low end of the range. Page 5 is the cap rate evidence supporting our model cap rates. Page 6 is the cap rate table for our modeled cap rates. Page 8 is the income and expense mailers. You can see that the R&M is very high in these 2 years, at around, I think I calculated $2,500. So I made a little table just to show that if we use the 1,500 R&M, our NOIs are practically right on. Page 9 and forward are just some pictures. As you can see that this place has been renovated. Looks like a fair amount. And just to note that there is no effective age, there's no permits or anything, so this might require an inspection and a possible effective age on it. And that is my evidence.
Thank you, Mr. Deitchen. Mr. Dupont, any questions of the assessor?
Do you have photos of these properties, this property in your appendix?
I have photos on the last few pages.
Right, okay, so you're saying that they've replaced flooring and maybe some of the cabinetry in there. Is it fairly normal that flooring is replaced in most apartments?
What do you mean by that? Like eventually flooring will be?
No, on an ongoing basis, isn't that a normal thing to do to?
If it gets torn up after a while, possibly, yeah. This looks like it's like vinyl plank, so it's probably higher end stuff.
Now, would you agree that in the last few years that when they're replacing their flooring, they're not putting back carpet, they're putting vinyl planks, and that vinyl plank is becoming a standard?
I wouldn't say that's the standard necessarily, no. I would say that's more of an upgrade type thing.
Would you agree that they are not putting back new carpet? They're either keeping hardwood floors or putting vinyl plank. Would you agree with that?
I guess for the most part, but I've seen newer places built with carpet in the bedrooms and stuff.
Because they're older carpets, they're not new. You would agree with
like
that?
Even newer apartments, sometimes they put carpets in the bedrooms, like brand new ones.
Okay, so that would be the rare instances?
I don't have any information to say one way or the other.
That's all questions.
Thank you, Mr. Dupont. Valerie, any questions of the assessor?
None, thanks.
Thank you. Ian?
No, I don't have any, thank you.
And I do not either. Mr. Dupont, let us find your page, please.
Mr. Chair,
Hello, Jess.
I'm sorry to interrupt. There's another point of revision for classification on the application, I think. Is it by mistake or something else, Mr. Dupont?
Mr. Dupont?
The classification was appealed?
Yeah, it says on my agenda there's classification of properties too.
Oh.
Let me just check the application.
Yes, please. Thanks, Jess.
Doesn't look like it's on the application.
It's not on the application.
I just assumed it was read, but
Yeah, it's not on the application, Mr. Chair. maybe it's just a typo by mistake while entering the application.
So we're dealing with quantum only to confirm?
Yes, Mr. Chair.
Only? Okay.
Yeah.
Thanks for checking, Jazz. Thank you. Mr. DuPont, when you're ready, 34 Morrow Avenue.
We should start with the appendix, so page 18. Just shows some of the same photos as the assessor. And the page 19, it says dishwasher has a asterisk that please note that these features may not apply to all suites. So I guess they're saying some suites do not have the dishwasher. And the plans are page 22. The plans that I have are relatively big. But the dining room, if you see on the right on the last page, well, not last page, the first over the plans, it's quite small, 8 feet 2 by 7 feet 6 is quite small. Kitchen 7 feet by 5, it's small. And master bedroom at 10 by 10 is relatively small. And the next plan is the 2-bedroom. Same thing, the dining room is extremely small, 8 feet by 6 feet 7. The living room is a decent size, but a very small dining room. And the kitchen is the walk-through, 7 feet by 6 feet, so it's not a big kitchen. And the baths, and this one, 7.5 feet by 4 feet 11. That's extremely cramped also. So the bedrooms, from the old style, the layouts are not usually the best. And that's what this one indicates too. So that they're renovating, but it's still a difficult process to attract tenants because of the layout. So page 14 is my income approach. Before that, we're saying, sorry, page 12. And I have to rotate. So we have some comments. Suite size, small suites. The 1-bedroom are only 504 square feet, so they're extremely small, 504 square feet per suite. 2 bedrooms, 748 square feet. People that have houses, they're 1,200 to 2,000 square feet. 748 is quite small. The appliances, they have mostly 2 appliances, most with no dishwasher. But we do not add a premium for these negative factors. We just show them that that's extra evidence for you to choose a 5.5. Then the income approach shows, so it shows built 1968. Then the top right, we have the comments on the suite sizes, which we have from the plans, and some of the room were small, but they do have high rents. You could see that the line 3, the actual rent's 1,034. And part of that is that they're getting pushback from the market because from 2018 they went higher and higher again 2020. So that some 28% vacancy. That's what we stabilized that. And then we put the bad debt, the laundry and parking. So our line 13 is similar to the assessor. We're 603, almost 604. This is assessor 610, so very close. Expenses, we stabilized pretty much the normal way for most items. Now the line 16, it says we excluded the one high year. 2019, they had a very high year, which we excluded. And the repair and maintenance is stabilized in the next page. So that page 15 shows the repair and maintenance. So the first 4 lines, extraordinary repairs, they had 59,000 2019. So we excluded those, and the roof was small, no hot water tanks, etc. Parking lot repairs, we allowed that because they're small, they're repairs. General building, we allowed at half, 50% of the actual. It's kind of the leftover repair maintenance that are not categorized by itself. For flooring replacement, it's where we went with the max. So we got costs from flooring for 1 and 2 bedrooms. We divided that by 8-year life. So we're saying anything over 500 would be more than 8-year life. So this one was close. So we applied the max, which is 98.5% of the actual. Same with painting. Globe does more painting than other landlords. And we got the painting maximum from other landlords who we come to 225. And Globe tends to have higher repair maintenance because they on turnover, they tend to repaint all the suites. So it's part of the way they do things. So they have a better suites and less vacancy and more rent. Nevertheless, we only use 59% of their painting costs. And electrical plumbing, we excluded 2 high years, and the pest control, we excluded the 1 high year also. So our stabilized repair maintenance at the bottom is 2282. We show the actual, the last line for each of the years, excluding the capex and the waste and snow. And they're much higher than what we stabilized at. So our 2282 is reasonable in relation to the actuals, and we stabilize each individual item. So if you go back to page 14, that's what we put in there. So the repair maintenance matches the rents that they're getting. So our values at 5.5 cap rate is 4,633,000. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Dupont. Mr. Deitchen, any questions of the applicant?
Yeah. I'm guessing it's the same as before, but are these breakdowns in your brief for the R&M?
No, Globe General are by general ledgers that they give us separately.
Okay. I know how you're saying that flooring replacement stuff like that's kind of typical. Wouldn't you agree that 2017 is kind of an outlier year with $61,000 flooring replacement and then $40,000 in counters, cupboards, and carpentry? Probably including capital.
No, it's just something it have to be done depending on the turnover, etc. So that when we use a 5-year average, it rounds them out so that I would agree to keep the repair minutes that I had.
So you're saying that you don't think that's an outlier year to 2017?
No.
Okay. Was there renovations done to this property?
No renovations per se. So they're doing on a turnover. That's their normal management style. They fix the suites upon turnover. So every suite that comes out for turnover, they spend money on it. They do a lot of painting, etc. And they update flooring if it needs it, and they update the appliances if it needs it. So it's an ongoing basis.
Yeah. So from the pictures, you wouldn't say any of that's renovated then? That's just updated?
That's updated, yeah.
Okay, no other questions.
Thank you. Valerie, any questions of the applicant?
No, thank you.
Thank you. Ian, any questions?
No, thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Dupont, my only question is line number 5 on page 13. You've chosen a 7.8% vacancy. Rather than the average of 2018 to 2020 at 5.5. could you explain that decision, please?
Yeah, I guess the average 2018 to 2020 is a typo. The 2018 is 1.9%. It was low. It's all in line with the 2017, all in line with the other 2 years.
Okay,
And the rents are higher in 2020, so that they're pushing the rents higher. It's unfair to use the lower vacancy from a lower rent. So it's sometimes we use 3-year average, but in this case, I believe the actual 2020 is a better indication.
okay. Thank you for that explanation. That's my only question. Mr. Deitchen, requirement for summary?
No, thank you.
Mr. Dupont?
No summary, thank you.
Okay, thank you. That concludes 34 Morrow Avenue. Next item on the docket is item number 8, 267 St. Anne's Road. File number 22-2427, address 267 St. Anne's Road. We're dealing with a 2023 realty assessment appeal. Mr. Deitchen, when you're ready, please, 267 St. Anne's Road.
Good. File number 22-2427, roll number is 0800216600. Address is 267 St. Anne's Road. Assessed value is at $5,812,000. There's one building, 2 stories high, built in 1971, with 54 suites and 36 outdoor parking stalls. On page 3, it shows we have 26 1-bedrooms and 28 2-bedrooms, giving us 54 total units at $965.02 average monthly rent per unit. The gross effective income is $605,322, expenses $303,085, giving us an NOI of $302,237. The cap rate is at 5.2%. Bringing our value to $5,812,000. Again, page 4 is the rent comparables with similar suite mixes, year build, and you can see that once again, the average monthly rent is near the bottom of that range. Page 5 and 6 are the cap rate information. Page 8 and 8 to 10 is the income and expense mailers. You can see that they're reporting around $305,000, $306,000 NOI, and we're at 302 NOI, $302,000 NOI. And then page 11 and forward are the pictures of the interior of the suites, and that is my evidence.
Thank you, Mr. Deitchen. Mr. Dupont, any questions of the assessor's evidence?
No questions.
Thank you. Ian, any questions of the assessor?
No, I don't. Thank you.
Thank you. Valerie?
None, thank you.
Okay, thank you, and neither do I. Mr. Dupont, let us find your brief for 267 St. Anne's Road. When you are ready, Mr. Dupont, thank you.
Page 18, the appendix, that's the ad that they has, and they don't say they've done anything to the property. It's they're charming, quiet, and spacious apartment. So they haven't done that much work on it. So the income approach, the cap rate shows there, so it's 5.5% because built 1971, so it follows in that age group. So the top of page 14, top right, says 67% parking, so 36 outdoor stalls versus 54 suites, so it lacks parking. So that's one negative factor it has. Sweet mix is pretty good and sizes are not bad. So that's the one negative factor, but I did not change the cap rate because of that factor. Line 3 is the potential rents. Most years they include the vacancy, and this year they showed 1742 in the vacancy, which is low. We stabilized at the assessor's vacancy, 2.2%. Then we added the laundry, and they have higher rents in 2020, mainly because I guess the parking was included in the rents, and yeah, it's separate in 2019. So we stabilized the line 13,582 versus the assessor 605, so we're lower based on actuals. We stabilized all the items in a normal fashion. Repair and maintenance, we just have the handwritten questionnaires. So there's no breakdown to repair and maintenance. So we stabilized at the 3-year average. We excluded the 2 high years in 2017 and 2016. As you see line 27, I have 2 higher years there, and then it drops to 69, 71, 60. We stabilized at 67,000. That's a normal things to use a repair maintenance over 3 to 5 years. And when the assessor says to look at the 2020 NOI, it's unfair. They should be looking at 3 years. So we stabilize each individual item, and we come to line 33 in NOI of 279.7, lower than the assessor. And then we dispute the cap rate 5.5 versus 5.2. So our value is 5,000,086, and that's my submission. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Dupont. Mr. Deitchen, any questions of the applicant?
No questions.
Thank you. Valerie, any questions?
None, thank you.
Thank you. Ian, any questions?
No, I don't. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Dupont, is the heating included in this rent?
No, gas is high, it's 65,000. Electricity, there's no electricity cost, so that's paid separately.
Yeah.
Now we can look at the ad, page.
I'm just looking that it's electric baseboard heat. Clicked off on the I&E. Do you think that high hydro bill reflects that it's included?
The questionnaire says hydro, water, heat, and vent AC, and the Sussex put the 65,000 under heat, vent, AC, so it may not be gas.
Yeah,
it may in fact be electrical. Yes.
Yeah. Would it be included in the rent though?
Not
Or-
shown as an expense.
Yeah. Okay. And the location of this property, I'm not sure how far up St. Anne's Road is it? Where would it be? Maybe you've got a map here. I'm not sure.
Yeah, I have a map.
Oh, there we are. Okay.
Page 7. Yeah.
Okay, so we're just south of Fermor. All right, I've got it.
Yeah.
Okay. And Morrow was right there. All right, perfect. Okay, thank you for that. That's my only question. Questions. And your total value request was, I did not write it down.
5,086.
Okay, thank you. All right. Mr. Deitchen, requirement for summary.
No, thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Dupont.
No, thank you.
Thank you. That concludes, excuse me, 267 St. Anne's Road. And we go to the last item on the docket, item number 10, which is file number 22-2907. Address is 361 St. Anne's Road. And we're dealing with a 2023 realty assessment appeal. And Mr. Deitchen, let me find your brief, please. Okay. No. When you're ready, please, Mr. Deitchen.
File number 222907. Roll number 0800277000, and the address is 361 St. Anne's Road. Assessed value is at $2,016,000. Is one building, 2 stories high, built in 1968, with 17 suites and 16 outdoor parking stalls. On page 3, it shows 6 1-bedrooms and 11 2-bedrooms, giving us 17 units at $990.93 average monthly rent per unit. The gross effective income is at $195,681. Expenses at $93,849 for an NOI of $101,832 at a cap rate of 5.05%, gives us a value of $2,016,000. Page 4, once again, is the comparables for the property. You can see it falls way below the average monthly rent per unit range. Page 5 and 6 are the cap rate information. Page 8 and 9 are the income and expense mailers. And 10 and 11, because it was separated at, I guess during the sale, so it's kind of in 2 different parts. So it's kind of hard to work out because this one, I think it ends in September 2021. So it's hard to kind of determine what was for that whole year. Page 12 and forward shows the pictures. On 13, it talks about the renovated 1 and 2 bedroom apartments, and the pictures kind of show that everything pretty much was done. It looks like the cabinets, countertops, flooring, stainless steel appliances, the bathrooms. So this one definitely would have to be looked at because there is no effective age on the property. And it would have to probably be inspected at some point. And that is my evidence.
Thank you, Mr. Deitchen. Mr. DuPont, any questions of the assessor?
No, she have the financials, but they're only 10 months or so. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, the first one's January to October 5th, and then the other one is October to September, it looks like, of 2021. So I'm not too sure why it's like that.
And the the photos and stuff that you got is from recent, right? You pulled that out from the internet recently.
I pulled it from the internet. I'm not sure when they were taken though.
Okay, that's all the questions I have.
Thank you, Mr. DuPont. Ian, any questions of the assessor?
I do. With respect to the sale noted in October 7th, 2020, I'm assuming that's a share sale as well for $1,775,000.
I believe it was an associated sale, yeah. So I think the sworn value was just for the assessment of that year.
Okay, because I was going to ask, as a result of that sworn value, I guess on the land titles transfer documents, was a cap calculation done based on their net operating income from that year?
I didn't have any sales information to look at, unfortunately, for this one.
Okay, thank you. I have nothing further.
Thanks, Ian. Valerie, any questions of the assessor?
No, none. Thank you.
Thank you. And I have none either. Mr. Dupont, let us find your brief, please. Mr. Dupont, 361 St. Anne's Road, when you're ready, please.
Yeah, I pretty much have the same information as the assessor. We have a partial year. So we don't have enough information to go on. So the page 12, we dispute the cap rate only. We accept their assessor's revenue and expense. So we come to the value of 1,852,000 by using a cap rate 5.5 instead of 5.05. Built 1968. The rents assessor has is 202, and we're saying the 2020 rent roll that we have is 15,232, which I believe is including parking. I believe is similar. 232 times 12. So the 2020 rent times 12 of 15,000 comes to 182,000. So it comes to less than what the assessor has. Nevertheless, we accept what the assessor has for the rent. So even though the actual rents are lower, so that's my submission. I would say when they have a $1 sworn value of land titles, quite often the $1 because it's related partners, people they're transacting, but to pay the land transfer fees, they have to put a sworn value, and they put a sworn value. Whereas when it's a share sale, there's no sworn value. So this is not likely a share sale, but it could be non-arm's length. And that's why it shows as a sworn value instead of an actual sale price.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Dupont. Mr. Deitchen, any questions of the applicant?
No questions.
Thank you. Valerie, any questions of the applicant?
None, thank you.
And Ian, any questions?
I don't, thank you.
Thank you, Ian. Mr. Dupont, I'm looking at your page 11, and it's your summary of capitalization rate that you use.
Yeah.
So I think you made a comment before that the market reports for Colliers, et cetera, were actually national statistics. Is that right?
No.
No, am I wrong?
The one at the front of the Capri study, it was a national study, the one with the graph. But these ones here are for Winnipeg specific.
Okay.
And they're the exact same statistics that the assessor normally shows in his report.
Yeah.
The broker's reports. So that is a secondary type of evidence. And usually we use the cap rate comparables as the first evidence to rely upon.
Okay, so that the graph above where you've highlighted 1960 to 1998, those are your conclusions, and I think you present these at every hearing for apartments. Those are your conclusions based on a review of the report below that. Would that be fair, or?
It is based on the Capri study, with the 10 comparables and the broker's reports. We take the broker's reports into considerations. So we fit within the ranges that the brokers have. So I believe the broker's reports are good support for what we do, or what we have come to a conclusion.
Okay. Thank you.
They say 5 to 6. They say 5 to 6, and we're at 5.5. So we're within the range.
Okay. All right, thanks for explaining that, Mr. Dupont. Mr. Deitchen, any requirement for summary for 361 St. Anne's Road?
I guess it's just to keep in mind that the extensive renovations that were done, the 505 cap seems reasonable without an effective age that applied.
Okay, thank you. Mr. Dupont, any requirement for summary?
We have the actual rents from a December 2020 rent roll, and that's what we should use. And if there's any renovations that need to be taken into consideration, it can be done by way of supplement, like he stated. They could do an inspection, but that has nothing to do with this particular hearing. What we have at this hearing, we have those rents, we have the city revenue and expense which are not disputed. We dispute cap rate. That's the condition or renovations is something for another time, another procedure. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Dupont. Okay. And we have heard all the items scheduled, and this hearing is now adjourned. Thank you to both parties for appearing, and you'll hear from us as soon as possible.
Thank you very much. Have a good night.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, goodbye.
Bye-bye.